Hello and welcome everybody to the 407 and Beyond Vacation podcast. This is episode 26, and on today's episode, we talk with 407 and Beyond contributor Val Inslee about her recent resort stay vacation just last week. But before I introduce her, please share our podcast and our posts on your Facebook page. The more Disney and Universal fans, the merrier. Help us reach out to others to bring them this sort of content and to help plan their family's vacation. Also, make sure to check out our Monday Night Live show on Facebook Live, where you, the listener and viewer, join in on the discussion and comment in the comment box. Ask your questions and join fellow Disney and Universal fans live on Facebook at 7:30 p.m. on our Facebook page at 407 and Beyond Vacation Company. And finally, this and all of our other content is brought to you by 407 and Beyond Vacation Company, Disney and Universal experts who help plan your family's perfect vacation. So all you have to do is show up, have fun, and create family memories. As always, our services are free to you. Visit us on the web at www.407vacations.com. All right, and now it is time to bring on our guest to talk about her recent resort stay vacation. Val, welcome back to the show, and thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me. Hello, hello.
It's good to have you back on this show. I feel like it's been a hot minute.
Well, life gets away from you. A little less Disney, a little more living.
I get it. But it is good to have you back on the podcast, and I am excited to hear about your recent, resort stay vacation. So let's just go ahead and get into it and talk about that. So, Val, explain to our viewers and listeners, what is a resort stay vacation?
Okay, so the resort stay vacation that I just went on was booking through Disney, going to a Disney resort, and sort of just sucking up the amenities without going to the parks. So being able to, resort hop, go to other restaurants and other resorts, bars, etc., and using the amenities that were on the resort that we stayed on, without actually, swiping into any of the parks. I went to none of them.
So Val, where did you stay and for how many nights?
We did 2 nights at Pop Century, which was my first time at Pop Century. So.
Okay, very good. And what were your overall thoughts? Not a rating or anything like that, but just what were your overall feelings about Pop Century?
I liked it. I think that the room overhaul was really nice. I definitely felt like they went above and beyond to make sure that you knew it was clean. There was a lot of things that were sealed, labeled, so you knew that they had been taken care of. They also really upped. I think there was like a dozen pillows on the bed. Like they tried really hard to make it where you didn't have to contact the front desk for anything. Not that you couldn't, but they just went above and beyond to make sure you had a ton of towels, a bunch of pillows, and just everything very clean. And they actually labeled everything out for you to know what other cleaning procedures that they were using that were different this time around than the usual times we're at Disney.
So do you recall which room or which building theme that you stayed in?
Yes, we were in the 50s.
Okay, nice. And how was that?
It was fun. It was right by a smaller pool. So it was right by the little bowling pin pool, which was nice.
Right.
But it was right around the corner from the big pool, the Hippy Dippy pool. That's the main one that's in the 60s area. I think my favorite part for me personally was like right out of the back of our building and to the left was the Skyliner. Nice. And I had never taken the Skyliner from Pop Century / Art of Animation. So that was really amazing. It was right there. So super, super convenient. I mean, that thing is a game changer.
It is.
I
nice.
mean it.
Yeah. I love the locations that are on the Skyliner line. Going to Hollywood Studios, Epcot, Riviera, the Caribbean Beach Resort. So overall, I like the Skyliner. I like the attractionness, that's not even a word, but a feeling of the ride as if you are actually doing something, but it's transportation. I always kind of dread getting on the bus, but the Skyliner, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm in for a 15-minute ride across Disney property in the sky. So
Right. And then another thing that this is a side note for people, if you're out and about and you know what time sunset is, sunset was truly magical from the Skyliner. Like riding in and looking at Epcot and just it was it was really really nice. I thought that was just like I was like I'm so glad we're up in the air for the sunset because
Disney
because
even has the fabricated perfect sunset at night, huh?
it was okay. He'll post a picture, I'm sure, but it was the perfect
It was.
sunset
You're
on
right.
Monday
It was.
night.
It was beautiful, and
It was gorgeous.
to be able to see that from the Skyliner. But let me get back to the resort a little bit.
Sure.
So how did you choose Pop Century? And if I can ask, did you find it at a good price relative to the current travel environment?
I would say so. I don't know how we came upon Pop Century, but the reason that we stayed there was the price.
Okay.
And we had moved it around, and all of their nights were probably $70+ more a night. We basically stayed in Pop Century for the same cost it would take you to like be at a Best Western, and we're talking
Good.
about like a Disney property.
Right.
So we were really excited. Plus, we stayed a weekend night, so we stayed Sunday and Monday. So that was huge because you think the weekend would be sky high, but it
Right.
wasn't. So the price is what really drew me into Pop Century. I also think Pop Century is the only value resort open right now.
Yes.
So Art of
yes.
Animation isn't open, and
well,
none of the All Stars are open.
You're right. So the Art of Animation is open. The landscape of flavors isn't open, but all of the All Star resorts are closed. So
Right.
even trying to book our clients into 2021, we can't book All Star resorts because Disney hasn't announced when those are going to reopen. So you're right. If clients or guests want to stay at value resorts, it is Art of Animation or Pop Century, and that is it. Let me ask
Right.
you about the lobby. So describe the lobby. I have a little video here that you actually took while you were there. So describe the lobby of Pop Century. Is it a good lobby? Is it a good lobby for a value resort? But walk me through there.
Sure, absolutely. So when you're going through, when you enter through the front doors, of course, everything is very themed by year, 50s through the 90s. So the best part about this resort is they have giant shadow boxes on the right side, like across from the check-in desks, that have just sort of like snapshots of what it looks like through the years. So like in the 50s, it was very much like bowling shoes and roller skates. And then getting up through the 90s, I actually saw a game on the wall that I was obsessed with, a Wheel of Fortune, like handheld game that I played incessantly in middle school. I thought I could be on that show for sure. So that was really neat to look at because it was giant shadow boxes and it was really engaging. It was identical to the setup across the street of Art of Animation, just literally even the rotund way that the lobby goes around, except theming, of course, is completely different. But that main area is exactly the same, which I thought was kind of impressive.
And what was the check-in process like? I know that Disney is
Sure.
gearing everybody to just go straight to the room, bypass the entire check-in process at the front desk. So were you able to do that? And then how easy was it?
It was super, super easy. They do say, we're going to do a virtual check-in. You give your time that you think that you're going to arrive. And then starting it was about 20 minutes after that, they started updating me via text and email.
Okay.
Like, your room's not ready yet. Keep looking back. Your room's not ready yet. And they would update you within 60 minutes. So I got an update every 60 minutes.
Oh, nice.
When we got there, we went straight to Disney Springs. So we had things to do and it wasn't a big deal. And our room was ready about half an hour earlier than it usually is.
good.
So 3:00 is check-in, and it was ready at 2:30.
Nice.
So, but yeah, they kept you super involved with just when it was ready. You pull it up on the My Disney Experience app. It told you exactly what room you were in, what section you were in.
Okay.
It was pretty detailed so that you could sort of, and I think anybody who's like maybe not so tech savvy, I believe that you could even click on an interactive map. I just didn't think I did it.
Oh, nice.
But like they like let you know like you're in the second building in the 50s, and it was very, very easy.
Good. And what before we move on to Disney Springs and kind of the places that you went on your resort
Sure.
staycation, Talk to me a little bit about the food court. What was kind of the process there for getting food? Was it just mobile ordering? And how busy did you find the food court?
So it is only mobile ordering. That's all, the only thing they offer. You actually have to show your phone that you have a mobile order to the cast member at the front before they let you walk in. So that was, I think, an excellent thing. You're like, yeah, I ordered, and then the family would like go through.
Okay.
When you walk in, there were lines. It's like pick up your order here, and you head left, and you go through like basically like a one way only to like where there's like food stations where they have your order all put together, and you pick it up there, and then
Okay.
you come back around, and then what I thought was really crazy is they had like sections of soda set up. So if you ordered a Coke or a root beer, they were already there for you, and you could just grab them and go.
Nice.
Everything was really streamlined, and there was a lot of spacing available in the food court for people who were not on top of each other. People were masked when walking through, which was really great. And there was a ton of room. So I know that people might be intimidated to use the mobile order system, but it seemed to be like really working for the people that were utilizing it. Like it seemed very fast. It seemed really efficient, and not very like pretty hassle free, honestly.
Well, it's funny that you say that because when we were there a couple weeks ago, just even mobile ordering in the parks, which would be, maybe even considered a little bit more, I don't want to say confusing, but just busier. And it was
Mm-hmm.
incredibly simple there as well. So I think Disney has
Yeah.
got the mobile ordering down pat. I think it's very convenient. And I would imagine that even though mobile ordering was available kind of the pre-COVID-19 theme park experience, I can only imagine that going into the future is going to be utilized even more and more.
100%. I know that I always want to order from a person. I don't know, when you're at Disney you
Hmm.
like want the whole experience, but there is something to be said of being able to click on it, pay for it, have it, a text when it's ready, and just move and grab it.
Right.
That is the world that we live in. You can still interact with the cast member. They're still there making sure that you have everything that you need. But yeah, I think it's great. I will say though, another thing about the food court is I know that Pop Century is well known for the like pizza at any time. You can always order a pizza. They're known for like late night pizza. It's like one of the only places on property that do that, and they are not currently doing that. And their
Okay.
menu is super limited. So I'm sure that you can still find things that would appease you and your family, but it is, I want to say, probably half the capacity of what it normally is.
So, do you know, are they still doing room service or has that service been suspended?
No, it's also
Okay.
been suspended.
Okay.
And then if you do happen to call the front desk and need anything, it is very much like they'll leave it at your door, knock, walk away. It's very no contact.
Okay.
Um, we did have to have someone look at our fridge because it was room temperature, and we're like, we can't get this to work. Um, but that was still, he was very respectful. It was like a knock and then like a step back. He had a mask. I had a mask. Like we just, and it wasn't uncomfortable. It felt very common now. Like when you're interacting with somebody, you're like giving
Right.
them their space. You're explaining the issue. You're letting them do their thing in the mask while you're over there being like, I don't know what's wrong with it.
Right. It does feel like it's just becoming more normal to interact this way.
For sure.
So I do, before we leave the resort, I do want to ask
Mm-hmm.
you, a lot of guests who spend multiple days at the resort, utilize the pools, and you talked about how nice it was having the bowling pin pool right there next to your building. Did you? I know that you kind of walked around the pool, and I'm going to show that video here in a second. But did you utilize the pool? How busy was it? Kind of walk me through the pool area.
We did utilize both pools.
Okay.
Yeah, so we did the pool the following day, the big hippy dippy pool, and it was fantastic. I think everyone has this sort of. I think you have started getting ingrained since it's been so many months that like you could just keep your distance away from people. So the big pool is like in a shape of a flower, and people really kept to like the petal ends where
Okay.
it would just be like sort of little groupings. It was not super busy. I would say at no time was there more than like 20 people in the pool. And it was a hot day, and it like got around noon. And then we did check out Pedal's Bar and get some of their cocktails, which was really
Oh,
nice.
nice.
And yeah, it was a really wonderful experience because it wasn't super busy and people really did sort of give you your space.
That's good.
And it had an amazing soundtrack playing. They play like, oldies, and it was a
Right.
lot of fun. It was good. I was like, well, this is great.
You know,
Um,
in comparing Pop Century with some of the other, value resorts, especially the All Star resorts, I really find that Pop Century is a little bit more themed for everybody in the family. All Star Sports is obviously geared towards sports and kind of the not the fantasy, but the cartoonish aspect of sports, and kids really like that. And the All Star Movies Resort, Art of Animation is by far the most immersive value resort. But Pop Century, going through the different the decades, kind of gives a little bit for everybody in the family. And so even like grandma and grandpa can go, oh, kids, this is what I played with when I was a kid, and it's there at the resort. So it's kind of fun for everybody.
Yeah, and I think one of the coolest things that they have there are like the stairwells of the building are their own unique structure. So for our building, it was giant bowling pins, and then the '90s had these really cool Rubik's cubes, and the '60s had like yo-yos, which I thought looked like giant Babel cheese wheels, but they were yo-yos. But like it just like it's those Disney touches, those little extra pieces of magic that you're like, that's an outdoor stairwell,
Right.
but it became like a giant cool structure, and they already
Yes.
have all of those other statues around that were so neat. um if movies so like we were right behind Tramp,
Yes.
so I walk by him literally every morning,
That's
so
that is cool. I really do like that about these resorts.
yeah.
So, all right. So that was your experience at Pop Century, hanging out at the resort. You know, food court, gift shop, pool. The bar there at the pool. But let's talk about what did you do? You were there for 3 days, 2 nights,
Hmm.
and you did not once step foot in a Disney theme park. So kind of walk me through what is there to do for people who want to kind of be on Disney property, whether it be just for a short trip like yourself, or it's a long trip and you want to take a break from the theme parks. What is there, for guests to do that's outside the parks? And then what is it that you guys did?
Okay. I don't know if you're like trying to shame me for not stepping foot in the park. I
No,
wanted to. No, I'm
no.
kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, absolutely
Um,
not. Hey, I will
no.
say I absolutely love whether it be a 10-day, a 5-day, or 2-night trip to take some time outside the parks, because it is the Disney resorts, shopping and dining where I think you can get very unique experiences. And I recommend that to all of our clients is take some time and go check out the incredible theming that Disney has to offer.
That's true. And this was a big one for me because, as you know, in our friendship group, like you're in Disney from sun up to sundown. Like
Hmm.
there are people in our groups that are like, this is what we're doing. We're getting up in the first thing and then we're hitting the buses. We're going all day. So this was really the first time that I have ever been able to really take advantage of resort hopping, getting the amenities of a Disney resort. So for me, it was really exciting because it was something I've not been able to utilize before. Because
Right.
if you dangle that carrot of a park in front of me, I'm going to go to the park.
Right. Right.
So,
Naturally.
naturally. So we did a lot of shopping at Disney Springs. We were in Disney Springs every single day. So we did a lot of walking around. We were popping in for new merchandise. While we were there, all the Halloween stuff dropped, so that was fun to see. I was a little worried that like it was going to reach capacity and we wouldn't be able to get somewhere, but it was actually really, really easy. They do, when you do get out of your car, everybody gets redirected to that second floor parking garage, and they have made it into a giant sort of like health check. So like you do get your forehead scanned to make sure that your temperature is in check, and then are you wearing a mask, and then you're able to be in the park. So it's just an extra step. Something fun that they have added is if you forget a mask, you've lost a mask, your mask breaks, they do have a little mask vending machine right
Oh,
there by the
that's
people
cool.
taking your temperatures. So if like you need a quick paper mask, they have those available for you. Um, so yes, we utilized a lot of Disney dining. and just a lot of World of Disney, you know, trying to feel like I was as close as I could be to not going into the parks. So
Right.
really taking my time shopping around, grabbing some exclusive things like the s'more, the handmade s'more was back from at the Ganachery, and that was a Disney must do for me.
Must do.
Must do. And let me tell you, I don't know if anybody of the viewers have watched Be Our Chef on Disney Plus. I was obsessed with it. I thought it was a great little cooking show. But Chef Amanda is the manager of the Ganachery, and she actually made me the s'more.
No joke.
No joke. It was Chef Amanda, and I was like on another level. I was like, Chef Amanda made my s'more.
Val, only at Disney, you know?
Truly. And dear Chef Amanda, if you were listening, it was the best freaking s'more I've ever had. It was so delicious. Anybody, it was worth the $8. I know it seems steep. It was incredible.
So Val, let me ask. I actually have not seen that show, although I have intentions of watching it. Was the s'more different than the usual s'more in terms of, you know, graham crackers, chocolate marshmallow, or what was it about the s'more that was just so good?
Okay, so the Ganachery's chocolate is incredible. So it's the graham crackers are covered in that chocolate, and then it's like a bourbon glazed marshmallow that they like hand torch, and then they add
bourbon.
I know, right? And then they add like the little sea salt, like, so it's all like assembled and put together like right in front of you. And then if that wasn't amazing enough, they use a little like cutout and they sprinkle powdered sugar, and it makes a little Mickey like emblem, like ear on the top of it. And it's just like the perfect little extra like Disney thing. I almost went back and got another one.
Oh man, I'll tell you
it was so good.
I'm gonna have to check that out. We are gonna be there next week, and if we are at Disney Springs, bringing in, you know, everybody coverage of Disney Springs, I'm gonna stop in there and I'm gonna record myself. Maybe I'll go out live, Val. I'll go out live eating one of those s'mores.
It's so good.
Disney Springs. So
it was really amazing. It was one of the best things I've had.
That's not the out of the box s'more. That sounds gourmet and, you know, the best of all the ingredients.
It was done only as Disney could do it.
So let me ask you two questions about Disney Springs. One, was it busy? Did you have some room to maneuver in the walkways that you could keep a safe distance from other people? And two, most importantly, where did you eat while you were at Disney Springs?
Okay, so I think out in the open, Disney Springs has lots of room for you to move and negotiate and get away from other people. Was it busy? In my mind, I did think it was pretty busy. It wasn't wall to wall people, and obviously they do shut it down once they fill the lime and orange garages. They don't allow anybody else in after those two garages are full.
Okay.
But I did feel like, you know, as someone who is still social distancing, I did think for me, I was like, these are a lot of people.
Sure.
But I think everyone's doing their best to be respectful and sort of stick to their little pods and move out of the way. The only place that this gets a little dicey is when you're going inside any of the shops.
I was just going to ask you, how busy was World of Disney?
World of Disney was enough to make me be like, oh, like you're like trying to like see the new merchandise. You're trying to like figure out if you want to buy a pair of ears, and you're just like, and you know, new eyes. Like, should I even be trying on this pair of ears that have been sitting here? Like, what does that look like? Like, so some of that is a little stressful, and I think you have to gauge your own sort of comfort level. I think people do try to get out of your way, but it was definitely busy. It was not, there wasn't a wait to get in or anything, and they're doing a really good job of funneling everybody into one entrance and funneling everybody out of another entrance.
Okay.
So
it's very similar then to the theme parks right now.
Right. So they're trying very hard to be like, hey, come in this door and nothing else. And like, please leave from these 5 doors and nothing else.
Okay.
And there is a counter at the front. You know, somebody is keeping track to know what capacity is. But yeah, I was a smidge uncomfortable just in my own bubble. I think it would be fine for somebody who maybe isn't as maybe hyper aware, but trust me, the excitement did take over. And at one point, I was like, I don't care. Look at this new stuff. They have 40th anniversary of this. Look at these ears. Like,
Right.
I definitely had I definitely was like, oh no, this is not normal.
Right.
But I think everybody did the best they could.
Sure. Well, I mean, and that's what you can ask right now. Tell me about your dining experience. I know you had a good one.
I did, yeah. Okay, first of all, I need to do a little shout out to the very first little place that we did was Hot Diggity Dog, which is a new food truck at the Disney food truck sort of experience. Gourmet hot dogs. I had such a good hot dog with like chorizo and roasted corn. It was like a Southwest Santa Fe hot dog, and it was fantastic. It was really good. So that was my first little like, yay. And then, so my big dining experience out was my first time. This time I went to the Boathouse.
Yes.
And the Boathouse
the
Boathouse was magical. We actually got seat.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, we got seated at sunset, so it was perfect, and like everything coming down off the water. We dressed up because we were those people. Of course. And it was just beautiful. Yeah, it was beautiful. My salmon was like one of the best salmons I've ever had.
Good.
So shout out to that. It was like a cedar plank salmon. It was fantastic. The second best salmon I've ever had was also at Disney property, at Wilderness Lodge. So, I mean, they do salmon well. But yeah, the cocktails were fantastic and strong. The ambiance was beautiful. It was gorgeous. It was a wonderful place to like have a date night and just really, be in the Disney magic, but also like just have a fantastic dining experience. It really surpassed all that I could have imagined. Like it was really, really good.
Val, for
it was full.
It was full. Yeah.
The restaurant was full.
I have heard that about the Boathouse right now, that it is, they're taking a lot of gas at the same time right now. And that some people are finding it to be, pretty busy. So, but I will say also that a lot of our clients have told us that the Boathouse is one of their favorite dining places on all of property. So, I have yet to hear a bad thing about the Boathouse. So
yeah, it was great.
Were the amphicars going into the water?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I think not after like sundown, but I saw them out every day we were there. They were out. So and then the balloon is still flying. So I mean, it feels very much like a normal Disney Springs experience, as much as it can be. Right. I think all of the shops are open. But there are, keep in mind that there are little shops and they do have small capacities. Ganachery is one of them, 2 people in at a time, and that's it. Right. So, I tried to walk in, a guy's like, we're at capacity. And it was literally like a man and his wife. And I was like, okay, I'll wait out here.
Right.
Right. But yeah, like it was, Disney Springs felt very much like Disney Springs, which was great.
Good.
Which is exactly what I needed. You need those. You look for those like scraps of normalcy, right? So that was ours.
And especially on, generally not taking into account the current, environment with COVID-19, but going to Disney Springs on a resort-only staycation is one of the things to go do. So
100%.
It is a big deal to do all the shopping and dining that Disney Springs have to offer. So let me ask you, Val, aside from Disney Springs, what are some of the other things that you did? I know you did go check out the Riviera. So tell me a little bit about that.
Sure. Yeah. Since we were right on line with the Skyliners, it was really easy to get anywhere. Like we stuck to the Skyliners as our main. If we couldn't drive there, it was the Skyliner. So that's what we did. So I had not been to the Riviera yet. So we got off at the Riviera. They have beautiful mosaics. It is one of the, I would say, like the least like Disney obvious places that you can stay. Like Disney's definitely there. It's left its mark, but it is very, very subtle. It feels very high end. It feels very regal.
Right. Yeah. I would agree with that.
So yeah. So it was beautiful, but the best part for me was La Petite Cafe, which was.
Wait, can you say that again?
La Petite Cafe.
Oh, perfect.
I thank you. Can you tell that Ratatouille is my favorite movie?
Yes.
So it was, I will say, hands down, I am a coffee snob. Everybody knows this about me. And uh, that cinnamon cold brew was one of the best coffee drinks
No,
I have ever had in my whole life. Like, I
good.
can't wait to go back down and get that coffee. Like, it was delicious. And then connected to that, like right behind, is this little hidden gem, which is a little library, and it's got like the original hat Walt wore and a couple of photos and the original Mickey Mouse doll. And it's just very like dark leather, good lighting, creamy seats. Like, it was just a really cool place to like
Yes.
sit down, have some coffee and a gourmet cupcake, and just absorb like being in a fun new Disney spot for me.
From an aesthetic only standpoint, not anything to do with the food or drinks there. Does it remind you or give you the same sort of vibes as the Enchanted Rose, the new bar over at the Grand Floridian?
It's definitely got that kind of air of like Disney has been really putting a spin on some of like the classic things and making them feel high end, where it's not overtly Disney and Mickey Mouse in your face, but you know that it is Disney, but
Right.
it's almost done at like a different higher scale.
Sure.
So yeah, I thought it was amazing. I was like, this is really pretty. I wonder what a room looks like. Like, that's
Right.
so
It
it
is
was
really pretty
really
in there.
nice. It was really nice. So we did that, and then there, for people who don't know, there are two hubs for the Skyliners in Caribbean Beach. So then we actually walked all the way back through Caribbean Beach to the other hub, and then got back to Pop that way.
Okay.
So that was fun.
Good.
Yeah.
So Val, to wrap up, let me ask you a couple of questions. One,
Sure.
is there anything that we're missing that guests can do or that you did during your resort staycation that we might have missed?
Yeah, we went to the boardwalk, and there you got a restaurant and a bar that are still open over there. So Abracadabar is one of the best margaritas on property, and it is a lot of fun. And again, you can do the Skyliner right there. It also brings you right back of Epcot, so you can see how the Remy ride is coming
Yes.
along,
I know you
which
like
was
that.
really exciting. So yeah, it was just like a lot of resort hopping, and any place that you want to eat that's open. I mean, really find those reservations. Like, people are really going out of their way to make it special for anybody that is in the doors, whether you're staying at the resort or not. So
I do
I
love
think
the
this is the
boardwalk area too.
I do too. I think it's
Yes.
gorgeous. It was so pretty to walk through. It was weird because it was very quiet, and the boardwalk's usually full of life and energy.
Sure.
So it was a little eerie, but there's still amazing service, from the cast members, and yeah. So and I encourage anybody to just resort hop during a normal trip or a not normal trip, like,
Yes.
whether there are so much other things that you've no idea they exist, and some of them are like those little lounges. Like, there's a bar in the boardwalk that I love that's literally just a little sitting lounge, and those are things that you find when you're like, I'm just gonna see what's in here.
Right.
So
Yes. I totally agree. Would you recommend to folks to do a resort only staycation, whether it be for a couple of nights, hanging out, or even building in a couple of resort days to hang out at their resort, check out all the amenities, visit Disney Springs, and kind of resort hop, doing dining and checking out other Disney resort locations? Would you recommend that to clients, to our clients or guests who are looking for something to do other than just be in the Disney parks?
absolutely, and I think now is a perfect time to sort of stay in a Disney resort, maybe spend that extra couple of dollars a night and really soak up the atmosphere and what a resort has to offer. I'm sure people are like me, and they run to the parks all the time and they spend all day there, and you don't really have a chance to sort of like, you like know what the shower and the bed looks like, and that's it.
Right.
So yeah, I think that staying at a resort gives you the Disney magic without having to force yourself to go into a park, especially if you're not ready. Um, and I think it's the perfect way to just get a little touch of Disney in your life when you may or may not need it. So I think it's a fantastic way to spend a vacation.
Well, good. I am glad that you had a good trip, and I'm glad that you were able to enjoy Disney property without actually going into the park. So Val, thanks a lot for joining us on episode 26, the 407 and Beyond podcast. We appreciate your insight and look forward to having you on in a future episode.
Same. Thanks for having me. I always love it.
All right. Thanks, Val. Take care.
See ya.
Bye. All right, and thank you, the listener and the viewer, for watching episode 26 of the 407 and Beyond podcast that comes out every Thursday on our Facebook page and on YouTube. And be sure to check us out on Monday night for 407 and Beyond Live, where you get to contribute to the conversation in the comment box or ask any questions that you might have. And of course, please share us on your Facebook page or tag a friend in the comment section of this video if you think that they might benefit from this sort of vacation news or information, or would just enjoy the discussion. So thanks a lot for watching, and as always, stay safe and have a good week. Thanks again, everybody.